Hey guys, so I'm going to talk about this weird hypothetical thing I keep thinking about today, which is basically like your comfort zone, and you can either go up or down. Down is whatever your current state of comfort zone is, down a level, so it's even more comfortable. So if you're currently used to working out 4 days a week, down would be going down to 2 days a week. Less effort, more comfort, basically. Going up is the exact opposite. It's getting out of your comfort zone, doing 5, 6 workouts a week instead of 4. Now, the weird thing is that these are not made equally because if you're working out 4 days a week and you decide that you're going to cut it down to 3 days a week, you're actually taking so much load off of your shoulders that your brain then acclimates to the 3 days a week and you lose your ability to work out 4 days a week. You now have to re earn that comfort zone. So basically, the premise of this idea that I'm hinting at is if you go down a comfort zone, you lose your spot in the previous comfort zone. But if you go up in a comfort zone, you have to earn your spot. It kind of sounds stupid. It makes more sense in my head, but it's basically the fact that if you let a bad habit in, it will then take place of your whole comfort zone. I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm having a hard time articulating this today. It's like if you're on a diet and you break the diet once, that one breakage of the diet sets your new comfort zone to that level. So now it's going to be hard to keep up what you've been doing because your comfort zone has just been set down another level. And so now by eating what you have been eating, however long you've been doing the diet for, is actually now harder. It's outside of your comfort zone because anytime you do something that is below your comfort zone, it automatically shifts your comfort zone down. Versus if you do something that's outside of your comfort zone, it doesn't automatically shift it. You have to slowly integrate it over time, if that makes sense. And so it's a lot easier to go down a comfort zone than it is to go up in the comfort zone. And the only way you go up in the comfort zone is if your current zone becomes comfortable. So we'll go back to the workout analogy. So if you're working out 4 days a week, and for the last 6 months you work out 3 days a week, and now you're trying it out for a week or two, or every other week you do 4 days a week. This is the new comfort zone that you're trying to go up into is the 4 days a week. But your current comfort zone is 3 days a week. And you're stuck at these 3 days a week, right? Because your comfort zone goes down to the lowest level that it can possibly be. And so if you're doing 3 or 4 days a week, your comfort zone is at 3 days a week, right? And now you're earning these 4 days a week. And so your comfort level or your comfort zone will never be at 4 days a week unless you specifically only do that. If as long as you're varying between 3 and 4 days a week, your comfort level will always be at 3 days a week. And to you, 4 days a week will seem like more work. It will be outside of your comfort zone. And so the only way to really upgrade comfort zones, I'm actually arguing kind of against balance here, is to be a little bit unbalanced and go completely up to the next level. If you dip your toes in, naturally you're just going to go back. And so this is me advocating kind of for if you're on a diet, stick to the diet and don't have cheat days. Because as soon as you have cheat days, your comfort zone goes down to whatever level that food might be. And so it's a lot harder to stay consistent. And so every time you break your current zone, you make it harder for yourself to stay consistent in the long term, if that makes sense. But you can also harm yourself because, like I said earlier, you can either be, if you're working out 3 or 4 days a week, 3 is your comfort zone, right? 4 will be outside of your comfort zone. But if you go from 3 to 5 and you cold turkey it, then you're going to burn out and you're going to go right back down to your 3 comfort zone because you haven't fully gotten to that level yet. And so you have to go up a level at a time, and it's so easy to fall apart. Think of it as like, think of like, like the little blocks you had as a kid. Hopefully you had them, maybe you didn't, but like they had like the alphabet letters on them, right? Imagine it's like blocks that you're stacking. So your first block is level 1, and then second block goes on top of the first block. That's level 2. You can't put level 2 without there having been a first block. Otherwise, it's going to fall down to the first block. Does that make sense? And so if you try and jump instantly to the second level of comfort, you're just going to fall down to the first level of comfort because there's no foundation for it. And so if you want to go up in your comfort zone, you can only go up a level at a time. And this is why people burn out, myself included, so easily, is because you put yourself, like, you go from like a 4 to like a 9, thinking that you're going to be able to balance that, but you can't. And because you're comparing yourself to these people that work obscene hours or do a lot of productive things or are really good at what they do, but you don't realize that they went through every single step in the process and you're trying to skip it, right? You can't do that. And so if your goal is to work out 6 days a week and you're currently working out 2 days a week, there's no way in hell you're going to go from working out 2 days a week to 6 days a week cold turkey. At least not for a long period of time. You're going to, like, it's going to burn you out and then you're not going to be able to do it, right? And you're going to revert right back to that too. So you have to do 2. And once you're used to it and it's easy for you, then go up to 3. And don't do 2 or 3 because then you'll just keep doing 2. Just go up, just straight up 3. And it'll be hard because you're going up a level, but it's not like from going from 2 to 8, right? It's going from 2 to 3. So it's noticeably harder, but not too hard. And then you'll get used to it. And then you go up and you get used to it. And you go up and you get used to it. So on until magically you are used to working out 2 times a day, 7 days a week, right? I don't know why we're like this, but this is just something that I've observed, at least in myself, that this is actually really true. Like, your comfort zone always goes to the lowest level. So if you're working out 2, 3, or 4 days a week, you're comfortable at 2. And so doing 3 or 4 days a week is going to be hard for you. And if you think instantly, oh, well, I'm doing 2, 3, 4 days a week, I'm just going to go all the way up to 4 days a week, probably won't be as easy as you're imagining. But also that you have to earn each level of your comfort zone. You can't jump instantly from running a mile every morning to running a 5K every morning. Like, you don't do that. You have to slowly progress, and people try and jump too easily, and it's just not how it works. It's a linear process. I don't know exactly why humans are like this, I suppose. I think it's because we overestimate our abilities, but the reason that I began to think about this is because I've been doing 75 hard. Basically, you're working out 2 times a day and like drinking a gallon of water and a bunch of stuff. And I find that by the end, you're kind of just dragging it, trying to get it over with. But I told myself that I was just not going to be done. Like, I didn't set like a 75 days. I'm just doing it for, like, I convinced myself basically I'm doing this forever. And instead of finding a way to just get through, I'm now finding ways to actually live it, and it's become a comfortable part of my life. And so this thing that is supposed to be this crazy challenge, I've deleted any sort of end goal or time to quit. This is just my life now, right? And suddenly I'm actually able to balance it, and it seems kind of easy to me because I've been doing it with no expectation that it's going to end. And so I have to integrate it into my life. I don't have an option. And so when you have to integrate it into your life, it actually becomes really easy to do so, and you get comfortable with it pretty quickly, right? And then you can start to go up a level and up a level and up a level and up a level and so on. So all this to advocate, if you want to stay consistent, don't try and go from like a level 2 comfort to level 9 comfort. If you're working 10 hours a week, don't think that you can magically go work 50 hours a week because you're just going to burn out and go right back to 10. And then the second thing to note is that our comfort zones always are aligned with our lowest possible level comfort that we live in. So, for example, if you are, I don't know, working 40 hours a week and you watch Netflix every day, the lowest level on that totem is going to be watching the Netflix. The working is going to be harder. And so in comparison, it's going to take more effort and discipline for you to actually go do that work because it's out of your comfort zone, which is down here because of the Netflix. By cutting out the Netflix and constantly working here, that becomes your new comfort zone. You get used to it, and then you can do more. So work 50, 60 hours a week. And that seems just as ambitious to you as it had when you were watching Netflix thinking about working 40 hours a week. So it's really just framing. But yeah, those are a couple of takeaways. See if it's not nonsense, apply it for yourself, and let me know what you think. I'll talk to you tomorrow.